I for many years, okay, and he's been a frequent speaker here to AMSO. I invite him several times to come here to speak. And Professor Song got a bachelor degree at Beijing University, one of the premier university in China. He got his PhD from University of Irvine, 1992, and now he's become the professor at in the Department of Economics and University of Nevada-Reno. So it's a good location, you know. He was the president of Chinese Economic Society, which is established for a journal now these days, China Economic Review. And he has been the adjunct professor in many prestigious universities like Beijing University, Zhejiang University, Shanghai University of Economic Finance, and many other universities. So he's very well connected to China. And he's well published. He published many journal articles and published 9 books. So he's very prolific writer. His research area is urban economics, regional science, and applied microeconomics. And he has published many journals, very prestigious journals like Journal of Political Economy, Journal of Urban Economics, China Economic Review, and many others. So, you know, he is a very prolific writer. He's the associate editor of several journals like Science Journal, Social Science Journal articles, and China Economy. And of course, so I'm very happy that Professor Song can come here to talk with us, to share his research experience with us. Okay, so let's welcome Professor Song.
Good morning. I have been here quite a few times, and every time I came here, I really had a great time meeting students here, faculty here, and I gave a presentation. As Dr. Feng introduced, you know, I originally came from China, and I do have a lot of connection in China, and I enjoy visiting China every time. I like the food there. And also I like being with my friends, my former middle school classmate, high school classmate, and college classmate. And I think it's always you know, a good thing for me to see all of my old friends. Today I'm going to talk about something related to agglomeration economy and urban development. And the focus of my presentation is about China, but also I'll talk about something for USA. Professor Feng introduced earlier, my field is urban economics. My main field is urban economics. So today I will focus on my topic about urban development in China. China's urban development, especially if we talk about the strategy, the policy, has been up and down greatly. Since the new China was born in 1949, I hope you know it, right? In 1949 we call the new China we was born, right? Yeah. So we say if we divide the stages of urban development for China into different stages, we can clarify by the time period from 49 to 57. We call it early stage of development. But basically, right after New China was established, the economic development was the center of Chinese government job. Right? So we will say during that time, the recovery from the war, civil war, was quite good. But that means economic development comes mostly, and also urbanization. So the urbanization rate increased from less than 11% in 1949 to more than 15% in 1957. Right. And then come to the Great Leap, Great Famine, and recovery period. Great Leap occurs in 1958, but then everything was about heavy industry, the steel production, and as I told my kids, that was a very ridiculous period. The government asked central government asked local government, the local government asked local commune to collect all the metal stuff like logs, cooking stuff, the pot, they put back into oven, a big oven to produce so-called steel. Okay, think about what is the purpose of a production of steel to produce product, right? And if you collect all the consumption goods, it's the metal, and put back into the oven. I don't know if we can call the oven big oven to produce steel, and that is really ridiculous. Right? And the Great Famine, it was during 1959, right after the Great Leap, and then 1962, a lot of people died. And then after, since 1962, it entered into a recovery stage. So that means when the government tried to re-emphasize the economic development, right? The urbanization rate increased to 18% in 1965. During the Cultural Revolution, China experienced a de-urbanization period. Many urban youth were sent to countryside. Over 20 million urban youth to rural area, and so-called re-education by farmers. So the high school graduate, middle school graduate, they were sent into countryside, and they are going to re-educate by the farmers. Right? Urbanization rate actually increased from 1965 to 1978. So China saw a period of de-urbanization. And I would like to show you some picture first, and then I'll come back. That's the, a lot of urban youth was sent to countryside. And this is the picture. This is the picture. Another. So this first picture is by train, right? And the second picture is, it was by buses. And also this is very famous picture. And the person you see in the front is the current president of China, Xi Jinping. So he was sent from Beijing to northwest part of China, countryside. Right? So that is a period of de-urbanization. After the Cultural Revolution, China emphasized more about economic development and start to develop cities. But in early stage of economic reform era, since 1978, actually China tried to control the growth of a larger city. So in 1980s and in 1990s, the basic strategy of urban development is to control larger city development, especially the actual larger cities, right? And if we talk about the policy in 1990s, the policy was even more strict, more control in large city. It is called the strictly controlled large city, moderately developed small and intermediate city. Okay, but still, good thing is emphasize the development, and so that means the city growth. And if we talk about urbanization rate, is increasing from 19.4% in 1980 to 26.4% in 1990, and then 36.2% in 2000. If we compare the urbanization rate between 1990 and 2000, we can say almost every year there's a 1% increase, right? So from 26.4 to 36.2 in 10 years. So we can say roughly every year there's a 1% increase in urban population. So that means think about China's total population over 1 billion, over 1 billion. So 1% is a huge number. 1% is a huge number. Like over 10 million new urban residents emerge from in China, mainly from countryside to urban area. Right? And the pace of urbanization not slow down, but even getting faster in between 2000 and 2010. And if we take a look of a percentage, 2000, 36.2%, and 2010 is almost 50%. So on average, the urbanization rate increasing by more than 1 percentage point. Okay, so that means that and consider the base is also getting large. So the total number every year enter into the Chinese city becomes bigger and bigger. Right? And in last year, the urbanization rate reached to 66.2%. So roughly, we can say now every 3 people in China, 2 are living in cities. Okay, urbanization rate in the USA is about 82%, higher than China, but China is catching up, right? And the pace of catching up is quite fast. Right? In recent years, after 2000, the urbanization development strategy changed greatly from the control of large city into into the coordinated development, and also emphasize the central city development. So nowadays we can say China relaxed its policy and to control larger city. In fact, China encouraged larger city development. China want to develop to build walled center, walled city centers. Right? Okay, so that is kind of a historical review. Okay. And this picture. Right. How did China control people move from one city, one area, one location to another, from migration, from rural area to urban area? The main instrument is through hukou system. Yes, through the hukou system. So the hukou system is really, really special. I don't think many countries have a hukou system. So let me introduce what is a hukou system. Okay, hukou system is a registration system that every family registers with the local government. And in China, the hukou system was established in January 9, 1958. So each family is registered into 2 different types of status. One is called agricultural status, the other one is called non-agricultural status. Once they are classified into one of the 2 status, they cannot really change. Especially for rural people, they were prohibited to move from countryside to cities. When I say prohibited, really, they are prohibited. You cannot move from countryside into city. Okay, if some farmers they try to move to cities, they could be caught and then resent back to their home village. Since 1978, China has gradually relaxed its hukou system. So we can see a lot of farmers that migrate from rural area to cities and became peasant workers. So they have a special label called peasant worker. They work in cities, but their hukou status is farmers. So we call them peasant workers. Some people argue that this label, this title is quite discriminative, because we label these workers in urban area as peasants. Okay, and they can work there in the cities, but they cannot benefit the public service provided to urban hukou residents. So they can work, but they cannot enjoy the local public service. Yeah, local public service include kids' education, medical insurance, and the pension, and so on. Okay. The number of peasant workers are really huge. from 67 million in 1985 to 150 million in 2000, 240 million in 2010, and almost close to 3,000 million in 2023 last year. So the farmers, the peasant workers, the total population, close to the whole population in this country. But the policy about this hukou system or the people's mobility has been changed over time. On September 19, 2016, China abolished the agricultural hukou status. Although migrant they are still second class in cities regarding public service, education, employment, housing, pension, and Medicare. It is difficult to obtain their new hukou in larger cities. About 3 years ago, China removed restriction on hukou restriction for cities with less than 3 million population. So we call, so for cities, if the population size is less than 3 million, there's no restriction for people to change their hukou status from rural to urban. But for a larger city with population more than 3 million, the restrictions are still there. So in a way, we can say China tries to control huge city development. Before I move on to next one, I will say, my personal experience. I was born and raised in a village, and when I was middle school, elementary school, middle school, my dream was become an urban resident. That was a dream, big dream. And the only way for me to change my agriculture status into urban status is for me to join army. That's the only way. Because during Cultural Revolution, college was closed. No college admission, no college entrance. So students were not supposed to enter college anyway. So the only way for me to change my status is to join army. And if I join army and if I got some promotion to a certain rank, then my status, hukou status, can change from countryside to into urban. But when I graduated from my middle school, my eyesight deteriorated. Because for Chinese, if they want to join the military, they need to have a perfect eyesight. Okay, but after my middle school, my eyesight deteriorated, so I need to put glasses. I think my first pair of glasses when I was a college student, right? Yeah. And so after I graduated from my middle school, I have to give up my dream, changing my status from agriculture to non-agriculture. But because my eyesight deteriorated, I had no choice. So I was kind of quite disappointed, right? And luckily, the Cultural Revolution ended in 1976. And then I entered high school and college reopened. So I can change my status through the college. So once I become a college student, then my status changes from agriculture to non-agriculture. Right? So I was lucky because after 1977, China reopened the college. So I can study hard and, I entered college and I changed my status. Right? Okay, the following picture should give you some idea what we call the floating population of person workers in urban area. A lot of people, they move from rural area to urban to cities, try to find job, and even though they cannot obtain hukou status in cities. Right? And a lot of them, I cannot say most of them, a lot of them, they work as construction workers. China built a lot of new buildings. They need a lot of construction workers, and farmers. They are one part of most important part of the labor source. And these are the group of people waiting for people to hire them. Yeah. Every morning, each city they have a market, and the people go to the market and waiting for people, other people to hire them. Right. That is high time. And you can tell everyone smile because they get money, and you can see there's a the cash wall, a lot of money waiting for them to take. Okay, yeah. If we talk about urban development, I would like to compare the pattern, the time trend for USA and for China. This table shows us top 10 metropolitan area for USA, and the table presents what is the population in 2000 and what is the population in 2020, and then what is the annual growth rate for each metropolitan area and also the nation. The first number is for the entire nation. So over the 20 years here, the on average annual growth rate of population for USA is less than 1%, 0.78%. Some cities grow faster than others. Essentially, if we talk about Chicago, the annual growth rate was only 0.32%, but the growth rate are much higher for some metropolitan areas, especially for those in southeast of the USA. And the one I highlight are the cities in southeast, which includes Houston, Dallas, Miami, Atlanta, and Phoenix. Phoenix is considered south, right? So you can compare the annual growth rate of a population of these cities in southeast region with the national average, which is 0.78%. I can conclude that growth rate for metropolitan area in southeastern region are much higher. So we can see a migration pattern, move to southeast of USA. And this table shows the first tier city population growth. In China, we classify city into first tier, second tier, third tier, fourth tier. First tier only is 4 cities, and second tier many more. Okay. Also, we are talking about 2000 to 2020, 20 years. The whole country, the growth rate is 0.55. So you can tell the population growth in China actually was slower than the one we have in this country. If you remember, for USA, the 0.78, right? And here for China, 0.55%. But for big city, they grow much faster. They grow much faster. Among the 4 tier 1 cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, the lowest growth rate is for Shanghai, but still 2% annual. Okay, Shenzhen, that is very close to Hong Kong, annual growth rate is 4.7, and fast. So we can tell in China, more and more people move to large cities. After the policy, the rejection was removed. And this picture, this table is kind of similar to the one I had earlier for USA. National 0.55%, that's number was same as I showed you earlier. And I don't know if you know about the map of China. Guangdong is South China, Shanghai is East China by the coast, Zhejiang, Jiangsu is kind of southeast by the ocean. Okay, Fujian is the southeast of China, like Florida. So all these provinces, their annual growth rate are much higher than the national average. National average 0.55, but for Shanghai 2%, for Guangdong 1.9%, for Zhejiang 1.63%. And okay, Jiangsu not that higher, but still higher. Fujian 0.9%, which is quite higher than 0.55%. So the similar pattern appears in China. People move to southeast, like what we have here. People move to southeast. Right? Okay. In China, some other region actually saw people and population declining, like north part of China, Heilongjiang, Jilin, Liaoning is North China. The population decline. I believe the northwest of China, the population also declined. Right? I taught some class in China from time to time, and almost all students, if they came from the northeast of China, north part of China, if I ask where do you want to live and work after you get your degree, almost all of them, they say we like to move to South China. Guangdong is Shenzhen, close to Hong Kong. Okay, because job opportunity are there, but in their hometown, population decline, job opportunity no. Why city grow? Large city grow even faster. One possibility is agglomeration economy is an important factors. When we talk about agglomeration, we can talk about agglomeration of a population or GDP or even innovation. Here I list some facts. Such as in 2020, the 7th census showed that China has 7 cities with a population over 10 million and 14 cities with population of 5 million. We call them extra large cities. And this 21 large city had a total population of 290 million. Okay, so only 20 cities, the total population is 290 million, which account for about 21% of China's total population. Okay. In 2020, China's first-tier cities, Shanghai, Beijing, Guangdong, Shenzhen, only 4 cities. They account for 5.88% of national population, which is already a big number, about 6%. But if we talk about percentage, they account for even bigger, 12.58% of a total GDP, and more than 30% of a total trade. So you can tell more than 30% of the total China's trade happen in the 4 cities. So we can tell, it is what we call the agglomeration, right? Or you may say concentration. Right? In 2020, the top 4 cities of innovation in China were Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou, the tier 1 city in China. Okay. The same pattern for USA. The top 10 cities in USA account for 23% of national population, 33% of total GDP, and almost half, 48% of total pattern. So you can tell not only the population, but also total GDP and the total innovation or even total trade occur more likely in larger cities. Okay. And this picture shows us the economic dynamics, economic analysis of urban site dynamics. So we say the city of the size depends on 2 curves. One is the marginal cost curve, another is the marginal benefit curve. And in the section point here or here determine the optimum city size. Okay, and if we see marginal benefit move up and the marginal cost curve move down, then we can tell the city size expand. Okay, 6 expand. Right. And in reality, we can have a city with small size, medium size, and large size. They are dependent on the relative competition of these two curves, two marginal curves. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this curve, but just to show you, theoretically, we can determine what is the optimal city size. Okay. So we say city growth is a competing consequence between congestion and agglomerative factor. I don't know how to pronounce it. And I will show you what is congestion factors. Congestion factors include traffic, larger city, more traffic, and environmental pollution factors. Larger city, the pollution could be worse, right? And crime also could be worse in larger city. So all these factors will negatively affect the urban growth. Okay, urban growth. But with technology advancement such as EV and the driverless cars and transportation infrastructure improvement, congestion costs could be reduced, and pollution costs with technology development, we can have pollution reduced. Environmental could be also improved. Okay, so that means marginal cost curve could be moved downward, which help city to expand. Why do I say the EV and driverless car can help city to develop? Think about earlier. If we talk about commuting, we have to spend a lot of money buy gasoline, and we have to, we have to drive, right? And now with EV, we don't need to buy gasoline. And the driverless car, that means, if we talk about Tesla in the future, maybe not now, okay, in the future, and you don't need to drive, and that means when you commute, actually, you can check your email, you can make a phone call, you can work on something. So that means real commuting costs could be reduced, right? In that case, people care less about how far living further away from the city, and city become bigger. Okay. And with technology investment, improvement such as driverless EV car, gas consumption will go down. Gas consumption go down means that pollution will be reduced, and that means environment in city could be improved too. So that will help city to further to expand. Right. Okay, marginal benefit, agglomeration economy. We talk about knowledge spillover, AI, labor market pooling, opportunity. They are better in larger city. Larger city, easier for people to commute. To communicate, and so we can enjoy the knowledge spillover. And the larger city labor market is very better, so you can have a better match of your skill, and also employer, it's easier for them to find the right person to work for them. So all these benefits attract people, attract employer to move to larger city. Okay. As I said earlier, the optimal city size is determined by the intersection of marginal benefit and the marginal cost curve. So that suggests a possibility of a large city become larger. Okay. I think I'm going to skip this. Why big city? I'm an economist. And as an economist, almost all economists we know about Adam Smith, and he, I would say he is kind of father of the economic theory anyway. According to Adam Smith, market size determines labor division and specialization. All encouraging technological advancement and innovation, increasing labor productivities, and promote economic development. So you just imagine larger city, larger big market, and I think labor can be more specialized. And so when we say labor become more specialized, so that means that their skill can be better improved. Okay, people don't have to switch from one job to another job and stay and spend that time. And by repetition, by specialization, the skill can also improve. So both all will increasing the labor productivity. And the increase in labor productivity certainly can promote economic development. Okay, and when economic development, what's the meaning of economic development? Means the market getting bigger, right? And then we are talking about a virtual circle, yeah, and further promote city to grow. So large city become larger. Typical foundation of our agglomeration economy can include quite a few factors. One is called the knowledge spillover. That's why we have a Silicon Valley. Okay, that's why we have an IT industry located in the same region, and that's why we have a financial market in Manhattan, in New York, right? And that's why we have entertainment centers in Southern California or New York, because people can have more face-to-face contact and they share the idea, and then they can enjoy the knowledge spillover. Right? And some people may argue technology development, teleconference, a smartphone makes it less necessary for people to meet, right? People will argue that in that way, teleconference, which what we call the smartphone, but think in reality. Do you think smartphone actually want more people meet together? Think about your friends. Okay, it's much easier for you to send a message or call and say, let's get together tonight, right? I believe with better technology, more advanced technology, encourage people to meet more frequently than all the time. Right? Okay, labor polling and match, it could be a kind of obvious phenomenon. The bigger and the more diverse labor market, the easier it is for workers to find their right career and the right employer. The niche, okay? The entrepreneurs to find their niche and the right workers. So we talk about large labor market bad match between workers and the employer. And think about if you graduate with certain degree, you may first choice you go to some place that you think they have more opportunity. Okay? And in a bigger market, if someone was laid off or fired by some company, they don't have to move, because in the same market they can easily find another employer. Okay. Similarly, for employer, if one worker say bye-bye to you, right, resign, or whatever reason, they say still says bye-bye, right? And it's much easier for you to find a replacement if we talk about bigger labor market, right? So the match will be much better for both supply side and demand side of labor, and certainly that will promote productivity. And if we talk about in the economy, it's really talking about productivity. Okay? Input sharing, if firms locate together, they can share the same banking service, they can share the same legal service, they can share many other things that they don't have a resort to hire themselves, such as a company that doesn't have to own a law firm, right? But many companies they can share the same law firm. Okay, a company doesn't have to own a bank, but many firms they can share a bank. So this is called the local import. Many firms, if they locate close to each other, they can share the labor market. Even university can be considered as the the import that can be shared by many employees. Right? I believe one reason why Silicon Valley developed so well, Stanford University, UC Berkeley, and the other universities in the Bay Area. Okay, a lot of new research, a lot of research projects, they are collaboration between company and the university. So they can share the same resource provided by university. Right? And the stronger incentive and return on human capital investment in larger city due to more opportunities. So if you live in larger city, you tend to invest yourself more to improve yourself because human capital investment. Because the potential opportunity will be greater for larger city than in small city. I don't think if I were living in a small town, I don't think I have incentive to re-educate myself, to improve myself, because there's no opportunity anyway. But if I live in larger city, either because of peer pressure or competition, or simply because of more opportunity in the market, in the city, I have a strong incentive to improve myself. How do I improve myself? I may, re-educate myself. Okay. And competition among numerous companies in the same industry and across different industries in the same area can promote efficiency and promote economic development. So they are the macro foundation for agglomeration economy. Okay. What is next? China. Next in China. Basically, we say we try to push the marginal cost curve downwards and push the marginal where is my push the marginal benefit curve up. So basically, we are talking about two curves. One is the marginal cost curve push downward, and then we push the marginal benefit upward. So in that case, the city grows. Okay. So within the same city cluster, we can think about making intercity transportation into public transit, such as the subway and highway. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say here. We are talking about within city, within the same city cluster. So that means we are talking about different city in the same cluster, right? The transportation infrastructure currently, we can talk about a subway or highway, high-speed trail, right? But I would say that currently they are operated by a company. They are profit-driven. Okay, they are profit-driven. Okay, but if we transform from the intercity transportation into public transit service, we are talking about activity from profit-driven into social welfare driven. Social welfare driven. Okay, for the former profit-driven, the company operation is purpose is to make money, make profit. But if we talk about public service, the purpose is to maximize social welfare. So the purpose are different. Okay, I will tell you a little bit more. Okay. The second one we can talk about, pushing the marginal cost downwards is to improve intra-city transportation and reduce commuting costs. Okay, one year to increase public transit, because public transit enjoying the economy scale. And the other one is to implement congestion pricing, that is to internalize travel actionality. When you travel, you bother other people. Do you? When you drive a car, you bother other people. Or how do you bother other people? You slow down other people behind you. Okay? You pollute. Right? You pollute. And when you honk, you make noise. And when you drive careless, you could get involved into traffic accident. All these activity we talk about actionality, right? But if we think about some policy to internalize travel actionality, people will make a bad choice. Basically, they are going to commute less. Okay, they are going to use public transit more, right? And reduce air pollution, improve environmental quality in city. Okay. I think I will skip this and this. I don't think I will talk about. Basically, what the picture is for intercity, if we talk about a monopoly operation, they try to make money. So that is the money they make. But if we talk about public service, public transit, then we are talking about optimization of the marginal cost equal to price. And you can tell the price will be much lower. The quantity of sales is higher compared the price of monopoly and the quantity of monopoly. Right? So basically, the two operation manner are different. One is for monopoly to maximize profit. Okay, so they charge much higher price than here, and they produce much less service. They provide much less service. Their purpose is to carry their money and make more profit. But if we talk about public transit, then the purpose is to maximize the social welfare in the city. And you can tell the price will be much lower and the quantity is much higher. Okay, and both help our local residents. I don't want to spend too much time. We don't have much time anyway. What next in China push the marginal cost up? First, opening up China's market, larger market, better labor division and specialization, and higher productivities. Right? So I hope China can continue to open its up. I don't hope China close up its market to other country. Right? But there's a movement in China, and I hate the movement. They call the domestic market kind of reunion, and try to in a way they try to emphasize the domestic market much more than the open market. Right? They consider China market itself, domestic market itself, is big enough, so they don't have to rely on the open outside market. Second, establish an open city system in China, allow people to vote with feet and improve the labor market. I hope China, they can completely eliminate the hukou system. So no matter it is large city or small city, I hope China let people to vote by themselves using their feet. Okay. I believe people are smart. They know where is the best for them. But if they have the choice, I would say, everyone will do better. Better, at least not worse, right? And then aggregate, the whole society can be better, right? And next is what I just said here. Okay, I hope mobility could become a human right. And certainly, I hope China can continue to promote the private sector and encourage competition. Yeah. The reason why I say this one, because there is a tendency in current China, they try to reverse the pattern of development. They try to now re-emphasize the state-owned sectors. And that is something I'm worried about. I would say, the golden time for China was about 20 years ago. And nowadays, I don't feel that good, right? Compared to what happened in China 20 years ago. They try to reverse the emphasis. Yeah.
Did new leaders come in? Is that why they're trying to reverse it?
Say again?
Did new leaders come in? Is that why they're trying to reverse it in the past 20 years?
The leadership. The leadership. Yeah. The person I showed you earlier. The person I showed you earlier. Okay, now this is our conclusion. In the first 3 decades of the PRC, China used hukou system to strictly limit residents to move from rural area to cities and from small cities to large cities. In the 1980s and the 90s, China controlled the growth of large cities, but saw a vast number of peasant work in cities. Also, the hukou system was still effective. After 2000, China started to follow a more relaxed pattern of urban development. That means less control and large city, allows in people to migrate to large and large cities to grow. Hukou system has become less restrictive. China has not eliminated hukou system, but have become much more relaxed. Large city has become larger in China and in the USA. Agglomeration economy is the driving force. Okay, and I believe China has a big room for large city to expand. I believe in the future same in large city. Not a long time ago, some people came to my office and asked, Dr. Song, what do you think about China's future development? I told them, first, economists are not future talent. We don't know, right? If I knew, I don't need to teach. I don't need to work. I just spend money in casinos or in the stock market, and then to get them to just collect the money. Right. Okay. But if I really want to tell something about the general pattern of development in China, I say I hope China could become open. Current trend is not what I want to see. Okay. The second, relatively speaking, the future of large city in China looks better than the third and the fourth tier, because people just migrate from third or fourth tier city into large city, and then the labor market and the housing market in the third or fourth tier, no hope. I certainly will not buy any property in third tier or fourth tier in China. But if I had money, enough money, I think it's relatively much safer to buy home property in Shanghai, Hangzhou, so the big city. Yeah, and technology, the development technology help big city to develop bigger. That's my conclusion. Yeah. Okay, so.
Thank you very much for Dr. Song's interesting presentation. But one thing you need to be aware, there are some people attending the Zoom. So please look at the chat, see if they have questions, okay? Then you can address those. But if you have any question here, you can raise the question here. Because I'm saying that there are people attending the Zoom can have questions. So
I don't think any message.
Okay, no message, that's good. That means, I don't mean good. I mean, there's no question. Yeah, there's no question. So, you guys, do you have any questions?
So, in the past, it seems like there was a focus in trying to promote the rural market, but and like the rural city development. But as the hukou system has kind of been relaxed and people have been choosing to move towards the bigger cities, it seems it's just been kind of a spiraling effect. The cities or the rural areas become smaller as the bigger cities obviously keep growing. Is there any kind of focus on trying to revitalize any of the rural cities, or is the focus just trying to better the life for everybody that's moving to the larger areas?
Now, when I say open city system, basically I say would say let the market force to tell people what they can do, right? And if some rural area, because young people move out, only the old people stay, right? So certainly some rural area the condition deteriorate, right? And should the government spend money to rebuild this declining village? That's basically your question, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they're basically giving up because the future doesn't seem to be there.
Right, I wouldn't mind let them whatever will be. If the agglomeration economy, the force is strong enough for people better to live in cities, why not? Okay. Anyway, China's urbanization rate is lower than most of the developed country, so there's a room, right? And the second, 1/3 of the Chinese population are agricultural farmers. 1/3. It is about 1.1 4 more than 400 million. Still more than 4,000 million. Do we need more than 4,000 million farmers? Right? We don't need, right? So it seems we don't need that many farmers. Should we encourage or even limit them to still live in the rural area? Up their choice. Okay, I think if they are able to move to cities and have a better life in cities, I would say China should welcome and treat them not as a second-class citizen, but treat them equally with the current urban resident in terms of employment, in terms of social security, education, and other benefits. Right? Okay. For small cities, especially the remote area, if they want to stay, if people want to stay there because peaceful life or better environment, or their root is there, it's okay for them to live. But if the village is disappearing or dying, I don't know how much we can do about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So economists are not human beings.
Yeah, you mentioned that like most of the people who live in the rural area and or urban are prohibited to move to big cities. That was back in the days, and become like a prison worker. So is this still exists like during urbanization?
Still exists. So China first, the picture, some of the picture are current. So in like every morning, start like 4 a.m. A lot of rural migrants in cities, they go to a place, common place, waiting for potential employer to hire them for temporary job, right? And you may ask why they, why people do that? They get up so early and they don't have any permanent job, right? My answer is compare, with staying in countryside, working in small piece of land. As I said, we still have a 400 million population in rural area, right? So relatively speaking, each person, the amount of land for them to work is very small. And the agricultural product you cannot agricultural product cannot make people rich for a certain low level of output per person, right? So they still think it's better for them to live to move in urban area and find some contemporary job and earn kind of low income, but still better than if they stay in rural area. In rural areas, think about what they produce, agricultural product. How much they can
farming and or like handy jobs.
They have to use labor. They have to use labor. They don't really have much the machine they can use. Right?
Even though like if he receive education and he would like to improve his life and move to the big city, he needs to stick with the rules.
Can you say again?
Even though like if he have a dream to move to big cities
Okay,
and he also gotta stick with the rules like for organizing to move to big cities.
so you are saying that even though some people would like to move in the city, can they move to city? That's what you're trying
For
to say?
example, like
Okay,
if I have a dream and
Right.
I live in the urban area,
so you are talking about all time,
yeah,
all time. If you had a dream, moving to a city,
so I can
you
earn
had
more
to,
money.
you had no choice. You stay in your villages.
So,
Right. And if it's called escape from the village to city. It's called escape from village to city. And then, the city has a special department hiring people to, catch, I don't call it arrest them, but to catch them. And then, send these people back to their village. I'm talking about all the time, right? All the time. When I had a dream to become an urban resident. So during that time, people were simply prohibited to move from one area, from rural area to urban area. Just no mobility. Just no mobility. Right? I say prohibit. That really prohibit, not say discourage. No, much stronger than discourage, but prohibit. Right? Yeah. So in that case, we can certainly say China has had no human rights. But now the mobility is much better. At least they can move from rural to urban area, any urban area, as long as they can survive there. As long as they can find a temporary job or permanent job there, they can survive. Yeah, they may be treated as a second-class citizen, but such as public service, but still they can stay there. Yeah. They will not be sent back to the countryside. Yeah. So that is good progress.
Okay, I think there's no question posed on the Zoom. So if you have no question, let's give Professor Song. Thank you for coming, and remember to write the report. Okay. See you Monday.